Kevin here from Harrington Classic Car Restorations in Asheboro, North Carolina. Today we're back on the 68 Chevelle with all the AMD new panels. We got our door fitting exactly where we want it, nice gap. The in and out is really good. So today we're going to fit the fenders and hopefully we're trying to get the hood on today also. We'll see what happens. But I had to take these out because these were messing up the door. They weren't in the right spot, so I had to take these out. I had to use PB Blaster. I'll show you. I had to use this big shot can of PB Blaster and let it soak for a couple days so it would loosen right up. And then I used my snap-on impact, came right out, no problem. Thing's fantastic. The next thing we're going to do, we got to cut that bolt off that broke off down in the bottom there, and then put some new clips on because I got a new bolt kit for it. So we're going to cut that out, put some new clips on, some new bolts in, and we're ready to roll. This bolt off down here, but safety first. Just protect you from all the sparks. Bring your grinder, earplugs, because that thing can be loud. You'll find out in a second on how loud that is. And most importantly, your face shield. I got from Mac Tools. Always safety first. That's simple. Really nice clips. They go up this way here. I mean, they're pretty self-explanatory, but if you get them down there like that, just because maybe you're in a hurry, they're a pain in the butt to get off because that clip. So they just snap right in and you're ready to go. Again, make sure you double check where the clips go. You see these indents in here? That's where the clips go, and the wheel tub will actually fit over this. A lot of wheel tubs, these clips will go onto the wheel tub and not the fender, but these go on the fender and not the wheel tubs, and they just slide right on, just like that. Make sure the nut side is facing towards the inside of the fender. There'll be one here. That one already has a nut cert in it, so we're all set there. Now the reason I put the wheel tub on the fender before I put it on the car, even though just test fitting, is because it could twist the fender and then it might not line up later. So I make sure everything's where it needs to be before I do the next thing. On there, so now we're just going to take a 5/8 wrench for the underneath, for the bolt underneath. And these are how these things go. You put this bushing on the frame and the bolt goes underneath the frame through here, and then this bushing goes on top of that, on that support brace. And this is an 11/16 socket, and you don't have to sock it down really hard. Just enough. And we'll do this side. On the fender, and we have the radiator support on the car. So now what we're going to do is we're going to grab this, we're going to walk it over to the car and set it on the car. Move this back. That in there. This is another reason why you fit your parts first. Make sure you get everything where you need it to be. You can even mark it if you want. A lot of people will drill a hole to put it back in the same spot. in. Just put them in there loose. And this bolt here, down here, this one will actually move the fender back to get this gap to the door correct, and that one will end up locking it down. So we have those bolts in there, and I have to get my other bolts from the other side real quick. These will go down in the bottom of the fender. Here. We already have our clips in there. There's that one. There's that one there. It's actually lining up pretty decent there. So we'll get our 9/16 socket and my ratchet. On. I have a pretty good gap down here, and this body line lines up really good. That body line lines up good. I have a nice gap here, but as you can tell, it gets wider at the top, but then here it gets really tight. Now these fenders, I don't think they're AMD because they came with the car, so I'm not sure what fenders they are. But what I would end up doing at this point is I'm going to actually have to cut this and trim that to get that gap correct. But most importantly, I'm going to get this gap correct first, and then we'll worry about that later. So this is what I'm going to do. Use this bolt here that goes to the firewall to try and tighten that gap up. As you go over to the door, you can watch that close. That's what helps get that fender gap the way you want it. Now that gap looks pretty good. It's a little bit tight, so we'll loosen it up just a little bit to get where we want. And we're also going to pull this out as far as it'll go and tighten up this top one. So that's good there. And everything matches up really nice. That body line there, that one there. And like I said, I'm just going to have to fix this right here. Now I could just trim part of the door or part of the fender. It really doesn't make a difference which one. I might even split the difference. So stay tuned. Got that gap looking pretty good. Look at those body lines. That gap looks pretty good. It's a little bit wide right there. And it's really tight right there. Could be the fender, it could be the door. We'll just trim that a little bit. It's nothing major. So that one's tight. Again, that one there moves the fender forward or backwards. I have to put some spacers in there. And that'll help open up the gap in the hood if need be. Installed, and the fender installed along with the wheel tub on the fender. And the gaps are looking pretty good. So now we're off to the other fender on that side. Stay tuned. Okay, so this is what happens when you have quality AMD parts, and whatever part that is, I can guarantee it's not autometal direct, because it does not fit this door for nothing. It's really tight down there, and it gets really wide up here. Even if I had to move the door back, which I really don't because it fits perfectly there. If I were to move the door back, then that gap up there is going to be even wider. So I'm going to have to do some finagling, cutting in here so I can move that fender in. We'll see what happens. Stay tuned. Kevin here from Harrington Classic Car Restorations. Just to show you the difference between a quality autometal direct part and a part that's not made by them. This fender, for instance. As you can see, this fender doesn't have a crisp line on it. It's folded over kind of crappy. And look how clean line that is. It's just a beautiful part. And we'll go to this side over here. That one there has a bolt in it already, and that's how that fits. And I'll get it up underneath here to show you. As you can see, the other hole up there to the left, it won't even go in, but that bolts in. So make sure you get good quality parts from Autometal Direct so you don't have to deal with this mess. So I think what will happen is we're going to junk them fenders. They did come with the car and they were new, but I know they're not Autometal Direct. So I think we're going to have to switch them out. Stay tuned. Hey, Kevin here from Harrington Classic Car Restorations in Asheboro, North Carolina. We did get the fenders on, but it kind of threw us for a loop because I was hoping to get the SS hood on and the header panel on for this car. But these not being Autometal Direct fenders, they don't fit the doors very well at all. And when we tried to put the header panel on, the holes didn't line up. As you can see, the edges aren't really crisp here. It rolls onto the inside. So I'm either going to have to ream these holes on this quality part to make it fit these nut certs in there, and I might even have to grind that and make that fit correctly. And this it didn't fit up correct over there anyway. So kind of threw us for a loop. Every once in a while that kind of happens. You expect to get a little bit of stuff done, and something like that, it just happens. So make sure whenever you buy your parts, make sure you get them from AMD, Autometal Direct. The parts are so much more high quality. That's what you want for your car. Stay tuned.